What's up everybody? I am very excited to be making this video today because I'm going to be talking about my experience at the Fest for Beatles Fans 2018. I wasn't sure if I was gonna end up vlogging my entire experience because this was my first time going to the fest. I didn't really want to have to worry about documenting what I was doing every 5 minutes. I just kind of wanted to be there and see what was going on and get a feel for it all. So unfortunately, this is not a vlog. It's just going to be me sitting and talking about my day there. So without further ado, let's get started. If there's anyone out there that's unfamiliar with what Beatles Fest is, it is basically just one big, giant Beatles fan convention that's usually held twice a year. Usually it's once in the tri-state area and once in Chicago. I went to the one in the tri-state area, which was held at the Hyatt Regency, Jersey City. And just for a little backstory, for the past 2 or 3 years or so, I have really been dying to go to Beatles Fest. I remember I first found out about it shortly after my 16th birthday, so that would be 3 years ago. I had found out about it just after it had happened, and so I was thinking, oh damn, I missed out on it. Well, at least maybe I could try to go next year. The next year comes around, didn't end up going. Then the next year comes around, 2017, didn't end up going. Finally, this year, I was able to go. I went with both of my parents. They got tickets for me as a birthday present, and it all worked out perfectly because it just so happened to be the weekend where I would be home from college for spring break, celebrating the White Album, which is my all-time favorite Beatles album. And of course, I was able to say to my parents, you know, that could be a good early birthday present. So my parents ended up getting tickets. We got them for Saturday only, and we were gonna plan to spend the day there. So I was very, very excited to finally be going. I remember literally the day before I had printed out the entire schedule and I was just highlighting every single little thing that I wanted to do, making sure I'd have enough time to do exactly everything I wanted to. It was a little chaotic, stressful, especially since I'd never been there before. I didn't know what to expect, so finally, the day arrives. March 10th, my parents and I get in our car and we drive to Jersey City. We got there at about 11 o'clock, so really an hour before everything officially begins. The hotel that the fest was at was right on the Hudson River, so my parents and I took a walk down to the end of the pier area, and when you're down there, Lower Manhattan is literally right in front of your face. It was a spectacular view. We were just taking a bunch of pictures before the fest, little photo shoot. Anyway, we go inside, we go to the front desk, we get our wristbands, and we're really just kind of aimlessly walking around trying to figure out where everything was, see what was going on at each location, and just waiting for everything to begin. When 12 o'clock finally rolled around, my parents and I, we went into the main ballroom where Ken Dashow from Q1043 was doing his welcome speech, so we got to hear a little bit of that. He gave us an introduction. I felt like I was officially inducted into the Fest for Beatles Fans because it was my first time going, and I was like, yes, my new family is here. One piece of advice that Ken did give for any first-timers at the fest was to kind of just experience a little bit of everything. Go to the Apple Jam stage, you hear some performances, you go hear some panels, some other discussions, go participate in activities. Just try to get a little bit of everything so you really understand what the fest is like. Which of course is exactly what I tried to do. So the first thing that I went to was a panel called Beatles Fandom: The Next Generation. They had a group of young adults, I want to say maybe in their 20s or their 30s, just kind of talking about what it means for them to be a Beatles fan in this generation. How the fandom has evolved over the years, how they got into the Beatles, how the Beatles influenced their lives. You don't normally see a panel led by young adults about a band that was active way before their time. I really enjoyed being able to hear from a group of people kind of closer to my age, just talking about the effect that the Beatles have had on them all these years later and how they grew up with the Beatles in their lives, because I can relate to everything they said exactly. I highly recommend, if you're a younger fan and you're going to Beatles Fest, if they have that panel again, please go to it. You'll really enjoy it. After that panel, I decided to go up to the marketplace, the fest store, because your girl wants merch. Of course, there were a lot of overpriced things in there, so I couldn't get everything that I wanted, but I did end up getting a few items which I really enjoy, so I will show them to you. First, I got this official Fest t-shirt right here. You can see it says The Fest for Beatles Fans, New York, Chicago 2018. Very cool. I also ended up getting a ton of buttons for my backpack. I have them on there right now, so let's take a look at those. Alright, so as you can see, my backpack is now completely decked out in Beatles pins from everything that I got at the fest, so let's take a look. We've got the classic I Love the Beatles. Simple as that. We got the War is Over button, got that for John, my favorite Beatle. And I also got this one for John. It says Save Lennon, and it's kind of dangerous at the moment because you got the pin right here. It's not really sticking on the back or going under, so you just have this big needle right there, so I'm trying to be careful with that. We got the I'm an official Beatles fan. I think this has to be my favorite one that I got. It looked really cute, has all their faces, their names. I thought it was really nice. This one is the one that all of my friends enjoy the most. I slept with George Harrison, which is very funny indeed. I had to pick that one up. And then I have this button. Although I didn't get it in the Fest shop, I still got it from the Fest itself. I found it at the front desk where all the wristbands were. They were just laying about, and I asked the woman if they were free, and she said yeah, so I had to just snag that one, just add it to the whole collection of pins. And yeah. Obviously, there were a lot more things that I wish I could have gotten, but your girl is a broke college student trying to save money whenever she can, so I settled for the shirt and the buttons, and I am more than happy with it. So after walking around the marketplace for a little bit, I went back downstairs, and I went back into the main ballroom to go see Leslie Cavendish speak. Leslie Cavendish was the Beatles' hairdresser in the late 60s, and I just thought it would have been a cool story to listen to. I was like, how often do you get to say, hey, I got to go see the Beatles hairdresser speak? Not very often. So that's what I went to. I got to hear Ken Dashow interview him. Leslie just kind of talked about how he got started on that job. He told any little fun stories that he had about the Beatles, and it was very fun to listen to. I enjoyed it a lot. He said that he would be signing copies of his book afterwards, and so of course I'm thinking, oh dope, I can go meet Leslie, I can get his book. And then I realized the book cost $22. $22 that I do not have. My parents suggested that I go up to Leslie with my program, saying that I didn't have the money to buy his book, but would he sign my program for me? So that's what I decided to do. I didn't feel like waiting on a long-ass line, so to kill some time, my parents and we went and got lunch, and then we came back, and nobody was there. It was just Leslie, and then another woman sitting at the table talking to him. Of course, I'm in the background just pacing around trying to figure out what I'm going to say to this man, because how do you talk to a man who spent so much time with your favorite band and actually knew them personally? How? Eventually, I go up to the table, the woman and Leslie both look at me, and I say,
hey, Leslie, I don't have the money to buy your book, so would you sign my program for me?
And at first he did that thing where he just looks at me and he goes,
no.
But then he smiled and he laughed and he's like, yeah, sure. I gave him my booklet and he signed it for me. There's his picture and he signed it right on top. While he was signing it, he was asking me if I had gone in to see the discussion. I said yes, I thought it was very cool. And then he handed me back my booklet and I thought that was gonna be the end of it. He hands me back the program and he just looks at me, and I will try to impersonate this in my horrible British accent, but he looks at me and he goes,
what's your name, love?
And I just looked at him and I'm like, Skylar? And he's like,
Skylar?
Yeah.
And he just holds out his hand and he goes, it's nice to meet you. And I shook his hand. And of course, my inner fangirl is thinking,
I am shaking the hand of the man who touched the Beatles' hair.
But then on the outside, I was just like,
Yeah, it's nice to meet you too.
He started eyeing my shirt, so I'll put in a picture of the shirt that I was wearing. And he was saying,
Oh, what's on your shirt?
I showed him, I'm like, yeah, here's my shirt. And then he just takes a look at the boys, because their picture was from 1964, and he goes,
Well, those aren't my haircuts.
Then I just started laughing awkwardly. I'm like,
Yeah, that was in the early 60s, yeah.
I'm literally so awkward around anybody that's even remotely famous. I don't know how I got through this conversation with him trying to come off as a normal human being. I don't. Just kind of like generally talked for maybe a couple more seconds, and I said, yeah, it's nice to meet you, thank you. And then he said, yeah, take care. I was also able to meet Mark Rivera, who has played with Ringo Starr in his all-star band before, and has also worked with John Lennon. I was familiar with who Mark Rivera was because my parents and we've gone into New York before to go to the live Q1043 Breakfast with the Beatles shows, and I had seen Mark performing there before. He's got his saxophone out and doing his thing with that, but I was never able to officially meet him, so I thought, hey, why not do it now? So I went up to Mark's table and I was just like,
Hey, Mark, can you sign my booklet?
and he's like,
Yeah, sure.
so I got his autograph too. Bingo, right on the front. I awkwardly was telling him about Breakfast with the Beatles, how my parents and I had gone to the shows, we really liked him, thought he was talented. And then I said, bye, nice meeting you, thank you, and then walked away. Now it comes time for the moment that I had been waiting for 3 years. What I had been training for to compete in for 3 years. Name that tune. I always tell my friends that they can play me the beginning of any Beatles song and I'll be able to tell you what it is within the first 2 to 3 seconds. When I first heard about the fest a couple years back and I saw they had a competition just for naming Beatles songs within hearing a couple seconds of it, I knew it was for me. My parents and I go into the room for the competition and we're sitting down and we're just waiting for it to start. And of course I'm sitting there looking like I'm about to have a seizure. I'm like shaking, I'm nervous and excited at the same time. I was so prepared for it. I was like, I am ready, just get me up there. The time finally comes around for the competition to start and the host, Tom, just goes, all right, let's look for some people who want to play. And my hand goes up so fast, so I'm sitting on the end, I see Tom's picking people and I'm just sitting there like. So then of course, he sees me, he points at me to go up, and I'm like walking up there like, yeah! At least internally, I was. So all the contestants go up, they get to their buzzer, and then everyone started to introduce themselves, just say their name, where they were from, favorite Beatle, general stuff like that.
Number 4, please buzz in and tell us your name.
I'm Skylar.
Skylar, well, that's a lovely name. Your favorite Beatle, Skylar? John, okay.
I had my hand over the buzzer the whole time. I was like, just play me the song, and I've got it. But of course, the trick is with this competition that it's really how quick it takes for you to process the song in your mind. Honestly, I thought that I was gonna win because I've been practicing all these years, and I'm always so quick to get each of the songs. And then there was one contestant who beat me to every single song, every single time.
Okay, that one looks like Charlie.
Glass Onion.
Glass Onion, and Charlie's on the board. Charlie.
Martha, My Dear.
Martha, My Dear, very good. Charlie.
Lady Madonna.
Lady Madonna, the last quarter. Charlie.
Happiness is a Warm Gun.
Charlie loves his white eye. And it's Charlie for the game.
Open the
Oh, bloody.
Charlie, if you're watching this, kudos to you, man. I thought that I was good, but you really brung it. Brought it? Brung it. You did good. That's what all I'm saying. Good on you, man. He literally beat me to every single song. Like, I would know the song and I'd be buzzing in, but he was just too quick for me. He beat me every single time and he won that round. And then I surprisingly got no points and I felt very defeated from that. Although I did get a prize, all the contestants who participated got one. I got this hat right here. It just says the Beatles Cirque du Soleil. It has the website on the back. Stylish. So I went back to my seat. I felt very defeated. I was low-key a little pissed off. I was thinking, I have literally been preparing for this. What happened? Where did I go wrong? This is so depressing. Like, I don't know what to do now. Like, can I go up again? I need to redeem myself. Please? So I sat, and as I was watching everybody else go up there to play their rounds, I was thinking, you know, I told myself I wasn't gonna do trivia, but I want to redeem myself. I think I'll give it a try. So when Name That Tune was over and Tom started picking people for trivia, I raised my hand. And I honestly didn't think he was gonna pick me because I had just got up for Name That Tune. I would think he'd want to get more of the people who hadn't gotten the chance to play yet. But he picked me. I went up there and I was thinking, what am I getting myself into? I'm so bad at trivia. What is going on? But I went up there, and surprisingly, I did way better at trivia than I did at Name That Tune. The category that Tom picked out for my group of people was song lyrics and album covers. So he'd ask about maybe something specific on the album cover, or he would say the name of a song and we had to say what the opening line was, or he'd give us the opening line and we had to name the song, and it was pretty simple. Unfortunately, didn't get that on video. At the end, I ended up being in a three-way battle for first place, and unfortunately, I did not get first place, but I was able to redeem myself with that trivia competition, which I did not think I would have gotten as far as I did. And of course, I got a prize from that too. Got this lovely Beatles calendar right here, which I absolutely adore. Oh boys. So after the craziness that was Name That Tune in trivia, I actually ran into Joe, aka Mean Mr. Mayo on YouTube. He's the one that I actually made my contest video for, so I finally got to say hey to him. He actually featured me in his video about Beatles Fest. He made a vlog. I'll put the link in the description for you guys to check it out if you haven't seen it, because it's pretty cool. I really was just kind of aimlessly roaming around the fest, not really sure of where to go or what to do at this point, so I was trying to hit up the spots that I hadn't gotten to earlier in the day. I had gone to do the door prizes with my parents. We didn't win anything, unfortunately. I also stopped by the video and AV room. We walked in on them showing the rooftop concert from 1969. I had seen a lot of videos from the rooftop concert before, just them performing their songs. They were showing the fans on the streets. They showed people going onto their roofs to go get a look at the Beatles. I was also walking through the lobby area of the hotel where there were a bunch of people gathered, just playing instruments, singing Beatles songs. So I joined in on that, which was very, very sweet. I loved it. And then the day kind of ended after that. It was around, I think, 6 or 7 o'clock at night. My parents were tired and they wanted to go home. I really wanted to stay for the concert that night where they were playing the whole first side of the White Album, but my parents, they did not want to be a part of that at all. They were flat out exhausted, so I was a little disappointed that I didn't get to stay, but that was my day at Beatles Fest. A splendid time was had by all. Overall, I definitely had an amazing time. I will be going back whenever I get the chance. My only complaint is that I definitely wish I could have stayed longer, or at least gotten passes for Sunday so I didn't have to cram everything into one day. Because even though I feel like I hit up every single location in the hotel, I still feel like I missed out on a lot. So I feel like definitely going more than one day, you'll feel like you experienced it all. So I will most definitely remember that for next time I go to the fest. If you're a mega Beatles fan and you're questioning whether or not it's worth it to go, definitely it 100% is if you're looking into hearing from different authors or different celebrity guests, or simply just being there to enjoy the music and enjoy the people there, then the fest is definitely for you. So thank you for tuning in to hear my experience at Beatles Fest, and I'll see you guys next time I put up a video. Peace out.